On Saturday, April 20th, the nation lost one of its most revered medical practitioners, Doctor Fernando Cuellar. On April 2nd, his family issued a statement that he had been diagnosed with blood cancer. Only 18 days later, the unexpected occurred. Marlene Cuellar, an immediate family member of Dr. Cuellar, told us that it all came as a shock to the family.
Well, I think we're all still in shock. And I feel for his siblings, I feel for his children, I feel for his medical colleagues, because he was a workaholic. He was always at his hospital. And I think they had a very close relationship because he was so present there as well. I feel for his patients, because I have had people message me and say, you know, he always made me feel like his favorite patient. And now that I see the outpouring of love, I realize he did that for everyone. And that's the truth. It is difficult to process. The cancer was rare and aggressive, and I think there wasn't sufficient time to be able to come to terms with the fact that this would be the end result.
Dr. Cuellar began his medical journey to becoming a medical practitioner almost 4 decades ago, along with his longtime friend and colleague, Dr. Victor Rosado. Their careers have taken similar paths since starting medical school in Guatemala back in 1985. They both worked at the old Belize City Hospital in the early 90s, later at KHMH, and finally joined forces at Belize Medical Associates in 2001. Dr. Rosado spoke with us about Dr. Cuellar's incomparable dedication to his patients.
What you and many people don't know about Dr. Cuellar or Tony, or we call him Star Doctor, is that he comes from very humble beginnings. His mother was a nurse, so when we came back as junior doctors, his mom was still a sister at Old Belize City Hospital. And so his compassion, his caring for his patients, his flair to talk in, he liked to say, in Belize language, comes from his origins. He never doubted where he came from. He embraced it. He loved Belize. He loved his career. That is what he lived his life for, his adult life.
And many would agree that his dedication to his patients stemmed from his passion to see Belizeans receive the best healthcare service possible in both the public and private sectors. He never shied away from media interviews, whether to disseminate information on various health topics or to share his thoughts on ways those in authority can improve the level of healthcare services offered to Belizeans. Isani Cayetano, the news director at News 5, reflected on his numerous professional encounters with Dr. Cuellar.
I think it's a major loss for the country in terms of persons who access the healthcare system both at a public or a private level. It's a loss for us in the media as well, simply because he was our consultant. If we needed any kind of professional opinion on anything that had to do with medicine, about the local healthcare system or what have you, Dr. Cuellar was always more than willing to share his knowledge and his expertise with us. And I think one thing I could always say that I admire about him is his candor. He never held any punches. He says exactly what needs to be said and takes no prisoners. And so because of that, perhaps others would have seen him as sort of a controversial figure, but at the same time, he was directing what needed to be said.
Actually, he developed that later in life. People who know him from high school know him as a very quiet person. And I think that as he excelled in his professional life, he felt comfortable to speak on certain things, on certain topics, especially when it came to medicine with authority. He had no room for mediocrity. He didn't like to compromise.
He and I were always good to have debates, so it's not a part of him I didn't know. And so I was not as surprised as most people when he just calls a spade, because he would be the first to say, well, somebody have to say it. And people to afraid about connections and what will happen. So I have nothing to lose, I have nothing to fear, so I will say it.
Undoubtedly, Dr. Cuellar's untimely passing comes as a loss to the medical sector, the thousands of patients he encountered throughout his extensive career, and the nation at large. This morning, two of his colleagues, Dr. Jorge Hidalgo and Dr. Pedro Arriaga, were on the set of Open Your Eyes, reflecting on Dr. Cuellar's life and contributions.
Very difficult to replace someone in that caliber and in that respect. Mean that it's difficult to say, and again, I believe, and as you, the medical community, is a news that it takes everyone to surprise, no? Because even that we knew that he went for treatment, I believe everybody was with the hope that he is going to put the battle that he did. And we probably was expecting a different outcome, but life is like that. No? It's difficult to know what's going to happen.
There's been an outpouring of love and support on social media, from Belizeans to Dr. Cuellar's family since the announcement of his passing. People have been sharing how this giant in the medical field positively touched their lives. Reporting for News 5, I am Paul Lopez.